Hi, this is Amp Sir Easy, Hafiz. And I want to talk a little bit about my experiences with 9/11 and how I recant a lot of what's going on with it. I remember that I'm a stagehand by trade. And I remember I was doing backline for, at that particular moment, I was doing, we were in London, Ontario, Canada, with Gladys Knight the day before. And so we had just crossed back the border and were driving along when all of the events of 9/11 happened or occurred. And we didn't really find out anything about it until we were going through this thick fog and going up in the mountains and Tennessee, and in Kentucky or whatnot, and we came back down to somewhere around Tennessee. And when the truck went to refuel, that's when we saw the news and the whole nine. And at that point, we beelined back home. And at that particular time, I stayed in downtown Atlanta. And we got there, and Atlanta was a ghost town. Downtown Atlanta was a ghost town. Not even the homeless was out. It was uncanny, unbelievable. And I remember how all of us sat there, watched glued to the screen, watching all of that and how the emotions occurred and everything. And I wondered how it was going to affect me and my workload and whatnot. And so I remember a couple of days later getting a phone call from the local union. At that time was 927, and they called me and they were like, well, going down to convention center. And I went down there and saw the Secret Service, and I knew a couple of those guys there. Didn't know that they worked for the Secret Service, but that was cool. And they were like, yeah, well, this is the official, speech that we're setting up. And so the local union, we were charged with building the extra extended stage so that they can put the little podium out there so that the president can speak. And that night, I felt a certain kind of pride of sorts, because as I watched the president speak to the country for the first time after 9/11, I knew that they were standing on the stage where I had secured that stage. And so as long as it didn't fall down, I felt pretty good about the whole thing. And I felt like, well, the government at least trusts me, so I shouldn't have any more problems or be concerned as to how this whole thing may turn out, with my name in the whole nine, because I am Muslim of Muslim descent per se, but I'm American. I'm a vet. I'm an ex-Marine. I am a union craftsman and a stagehand and whatnot. And so I felt like, I was in the clear, and that, well, at least I can say, look, if I'm good enough and safe enough by the country, by Secret Service, by the government, then I'm sure that I should be okay with the people. Well, this is where it changes a little bit for me, because I remember a lot of friends and family and clients and contacts of people that I work with all changed their demeanor right after that. There was a very big anti-Muslim kind of mindset. And at that point, nobody even knew what one looked like. So anything and anyone was considered suspect around that time. And I think a lot of people really forget just how ugly we got as a country towards ourselves and towards others whom were there. There were people that were Indians and Hindus that were catching grief. There were people that were taking their kids out of schools because there were kids who were of Muslim descent that were there. I had clients that wouldn't even pronounce my name because, it's Muslim sounding, kind of freaked them out or something. And I remember that, strangely enough, when work started happening again, this was also during that time where the temperament in America started getting real funny, and people start acting real funny towards anything and everything that gave off the impression of being Muslim-based or anything. Everybody was a suspected terrorist of sorts. And here I was going, well, the government trusts me, so I'm sure that, everybody else would, and that wasn't the case. And so what I found is that I got one more gig with Gladys, and that was at the point where we went back out, and we were in Memphis, and she went out and she was about to do her show, and she broke down in the middle of her show and sung God Bless America and walked off stage. And that was pretty much the end of, the workload, Now, this is where it gets kind of crazy because, see, I didn't work again. And as a freelance stagehand, that's almost sudden death because from September all the way until February, I kept dealing with people where at certain points it would just upset me so greatly that I would be talking to people that I've helped them even start their companies and stuff like that. And here they were treating me as if I was a suspected terrorist of sorts and whatnot. Even when I had a clearance and everything else, there was no way of me being able to sit back and say, hey, I'm one of the good guys. And that really hurt my feelings more than anything else. Especially, it also hurt my pockets a great deal because, I had to play a lot of catch up by the time that I finally got a job. And I had to basically beg a friend of mine to put me on, and he gave me this almost charitable gig just to try to help out. And in the process of that, I got out on the road. I finally got work about February, and by this time I was willing to take anything. I couldn't even get a McDonald's job. And what I remembered most of all is not just the temperament of the general public, but friends and family that I had known for all my life in some cases, and how they too had become kind of, offset it with this kind of, you might possibly be a terrorist kind of thing. And I even confronted a bunch of people about that whole thing because while I knew that I was not a terrorist of sorts, I knew that, I wasn't a threat or anything like that. It was an excuse for a whole lot of people to then actually turn their backs or to actually be, racist and even bigoted towards me. And I really didn't take that very well. And so by the time that I got to working and everything, I got out on the road. And what happened is some people in the building decided to relieve me of some of my personal property in my home while I was gone on the road. And then to cover it up, they found a little writ for possession. And while the landlord was away on funeral leave, they put my stuff out, and it caused a traffic jam in Atlanta because I had lost all of my stuff. So here I sat out on the road with a laptop and a couple of pieces of work clothes, and that's all I owned in again. And that's 15, 20 years of mementos and things. I mean, all gone, and there was no way of me even really, just getting anything back because I was working, trying to, pay off this back debt and whatnot. And so therefore I was homeless. And when that gig kind of fell through and I had nowhere else to go, I ended up moving back to DC. And I remember it wasn't easy. It hasn't been easy getting into the whole starting all over again and things of that nature. But what has been even harder or more difficult is remembering many of the mindsets and mentalities of the people and some of the things that they were saying. I would constantly get offended when people would make statements like ragheads and fucking Muslims and this, that, and the other and all of that. And it just upset me because what I found is that we actually picked up a very big ignorant and bigoted mindset that seems to have grown over the years. Now, we have not gotten this bin Laden, but, Hussein is gone and we're out of Iraq. But, through all of those things, a lot of people don't remember how we begged for those kind of things, only to turn back around and then blame them on somebody else. But most of all, what I hated more than anything else is that I was an American. I am an American. And I was not treated fairly. And I have yet to still be, treated fairly from a lot of people because, that's just the way it's been. And so my memory of 9/11 was not the prettiest for a lot of reasons. But most of all, because I am an American. And unfortunately, that wasn't enough for some people. And for that reason, I'm making this video. Y'all be good to each other because it's all you got. I am not a terrorist. But damn it, there's nothing worse than watching people turn their back on you out of ignorance. And there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where I'm at. I am Hafiz. Amps are easy, active dominant, and stagehand. Just remembering 9/11. Do you remember